Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of RawRadiantHealth.com, and I'm Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So today I'm going to talk about how to gain weight or to maintain your weight on a raw food diet. I know that a lot of people come to raw foods looking to lose weight, but there's actually quite a few people out there that come to the raw food diet not needing to lose any weight and wanting to maintain their weight, but because of the change of diet, they tend to lose weight. And I know it's very frustrating. I've received quite a few emails asking me if I had any tips on this, and in fact I've even coached people with trying to help them maintain their weight and stay on a raw food diet. Because, you know, the one thing is that no one wants to be in a position where they have to get off of a healthy diet in order to maintain their weight, okay? And I mean, that's like an absolute no, that like someone should get off a healthy diet and go on a junk food diet just so that they don't deteriorate into nothing. So there are ways of maintaining your weight and even gaining weight on a raw food diet. And pretty much personally, I believe that there's two reasons why people tend to lose too much weight or are not able to maintain their weight at all. And the first reason is because they're not eating enough. And a lot of people, most people go through this when they first get on raw foods. It's like they're not used to the volume of food that you have to eat in order to get sort of the equivalent amount of calories you would from a cooked meal. And a lot of times people before, when they're eating, you know, a standard mainstream diet, whenever they would have any kind of raw food like a salad or a fruit, it would normally be like one fruit or it'd be like a tiny little bowl of salad. But when you're on raw foods and this is all you're eating, you're not just having one fruit, but you're having many fruits, and you're having like a huge, big bowl of salad, and you're having nuts, seeds, things like that, in order to get the energy you need to be able to function and have your body getting the proper amount of nutrition and everything. So the number one thing is getting, at first it's getting used to eating a raw food diet and eating a larger volume of food. And this can be very daunting for a lot of people because they've always kind of been watching what they're eating, or in their head it's like, you know, society kind of tells you, you know, don't overeat, and, you know, too much is too much, don't pig out. And when someone sees what someone's eating on a raw food diet, they're like, whoa, like this is a lot of food. And in ways I find it's great because it helps you to recreate and reestablish a better relationship with your food, because it's no longer about your food being your enemy or your food being the thing that makes you fat, or the food is the thing you need to be scared of. You create a more harmonious relationship with your food, and you enjoy your food, and you can actually have it in abundance. And for anyone, being able to eat food in abundance and enjoy a variety and a good quantity of food, it releases them from the shackles of feeling constantly deprived or feeling like they have to constantly be in control of what they're eating. But the one thing is that when someone first gets into raw foods, it's a big change. And so most people do lose weight when they first get onto the raw food diet because they're just not used to eating that much food. Their body physically, it's like their stomach is not even big enough to even be holding that kind of volume. So the one thing that I do suggest with that is to really bring in the green smoothies into your diet, because green smoothies, you can get a lot more food and you can drink it down, and it's easier to take in a larger quantity. It's kind of like, you know, you put a few fruits in there, you put some greens in there, and the amount of food you might be putting into like a liter's worth or a container's worth of smoothie could be equivalent to like a salad and a bowl of fruit. So the great thing is that if you put it in a liquid form, you can take it in more, plus your body can also absorb more. And that's where we get into sort of my second reason as to why people lose a lot of weight on the raw food diet or they can't maintain their weight. And a lot of it comes to issues of malabsorption. And that has to do with the digestive system, and it just has to do with that a lot of times what we're coming from before we were on a raw food diet, we might have had certain allergies or food sensitivities and just certain issues with our digestive system that it was not functioning at its best, okay? And I went through this myself where I had an allergy to wheat gluten for years, and I didn't know it. And I was having a lot of problems, and I actually had like a gastro surgeon tell me that I should be eating wheat. It was like 4 times a day. He told me with every meal I should be eating like bread and anything, you know, pasta, anything with whole wheat in it. And I was just getting sicker and sicker, and it affected my ability to absorb nutrients that, as much as I ate it at one point, I was wasting away. And this happens to a lot of people, that they're not aware that they have an allergy to either the gluten or to dairy products or to other foods, that when you have an allergy to something or a sensitivity, or it's creating some sort of problem in your digestive system, it also inhibits your ability to absorb nutrition. And either the food's just going to go straight through you, or it's going to go through you, but you're not going to be able to get the right amount of nutrition, and therefore you won't be able to sustain your weight, and you won't be able to thrive. And that's, I believe, a lot of times the reason why people sometimes have energy problems as well on a raw food diet, that you know, they come into these points where they just don't feel like they've got the energy to do things. And I believe a lot of it is just having a compromised digestive system. And the way around that is to keep things simple in the beginning. It's really not to get into too much of a complex food combination. Just keep your food groups kind of simplified, and you know, and definitely not mixing like the fruit with the nuts, things like that, but really eating fruit on its own or with grains, like in a green smoothie, having salads, and making sure whenever you have nuts and seeds to make sure to have them with greens, because the greens and the fiber with the greens will help bring these things through you. Now, one thing I really do suggest with people that are trying to maintain their weight and trying to lose and trying to actually gain weight is to make sure that all their nuts and seeds are soaked. That's a big issue, because I think people have the hardest time digesting most nuts and seeds. And I myself have this problem as well. And people, especially that are trying to maintain their weight, they don't do very well with nuts and seeds. And a lot of times it's because there's an enzyme inhibitor on sort of like the skin of the nut. And what happens is that if you're eating it, it inhibits the breakdown of it. So you're not getting any of the nutrition from it. It's your body can't break it down, so it just goes through you, and it creates inflammation and not a good reaction. And so it's really important to soak your nuts and your seeds for at least like 6 to 8 hours overnight, and then afterwards just let them sprout even, which is even better, or just eat them right away. But the main thing is really to soak them in water before you eat them, just because it will really help to digest them. And I just find, most importantly, for anyone that's really wants to keep healthy and keep the weight on and even gain some, really blend everything up, because also we're not chewing things enough, that if things are blended up and mashed up and ground up, it's broken down for you. So it makes it easier for your body to assimilate and to absorb the nutrition and to get the most out of what you're eating. So that doesn't only include eating with your smoothies, but also includes making dips and you know, seed pâtés and things like that that are mashed up and ground into, you know, the blender, the food processor, and making different spreads and different sauces, things like that. Anything that you can put through the blender will really make a difference. And that includes also making savory soups, things like that. So the main thing is you want to just, if you're losing weight and you're losing too much weight, you got to make things easier for your body to take in, okay? And really pump yourself up with as much nutrition as possible and really get those greens in. So I'm wishing you guys a fabulous, fabulous day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!